Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Molly.
And Michael?
And today we're excited to be discussing the finale week of Love Island USA season 8, as well as the Big Brother season 28 premiere. So big week this week. Lots that went down, and I feel like there's just all the exciting stuff happening in reality TV right now. How do you feel, Michael?
Yeah, when one favorite summer obsession ends, another one begins. We can't go our summers without a show that we are basically watching and thinking about 24/7. So I'm glad that these days we have only a few days of overlap. I think is good because these are two shows that take up a lot of time. And I would not want to go weeks where both of them are on at the same time. That would be a little bit too much. So I'm glad that now we are closing one chapter with Love Island and we are opening another with Big Brother. And I am very excited to talk about both of them.
I agree. I feel like it's too much if they overlapped for more than just the few days that did. Because
Which
there's
has
so
happened.
many.
Like
Yeah.
in the early Love Island days, they did overlap for quite a while. Like Big Brother was the lead-in for Love Island when it was on CBS when it first started.
Mm.
But that was before Love Island became the phenomenon that it is now. So I think now that it's, especially because it's on a competing network, they really want to avoid that overlap, and they know that a lot of the audience does overlap. So I'm happy that they realize that and that they've scheduled it to work pretty seamlessly.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Well, before we get into Big Brother, let's start with closing out the Love Island chapter. So, first off, this week we had the start of the week having six couples, and then obviously only four go to the finale. So let's go through the couples first that did get eliminated, which were Dylan and Kenzie and Casey and Tiara. So for Dylan and Kenzie, what did you think about them and their couple this week?
Yeah, they had a little bit of a rocky start, especially where I feel like Dylan was just holding on to feelings that he just couldn't get over from. A lot of it was really before he was even in the villa. That the way that Kenzie was moving with all the stuff that we saw on movie night with Corbin and Caleb, and then even bringing up Sean from way back when. And I feel like and I will say, this is what he is saying to her, is that he feels like there is a pattern of behavior that he has seen with her, that he's having a hard time trusting her. And it feels like no matter what Kenzie said, he just wasn't going to believe her. And I feel like Kenzie handled it pretty well. Like she didn't try to gaslight him. She didn't try to, say anything that it's his fault. She just took it and said, "Look, I'm sorry. Like that was all before you got here. If you had been here from day one, I would have been with you from day one and we would have never had all these issues, but I had to jump, explore, and I was on Love Island and doing what Love Island is intended for. And then you came in and yes, I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything with Gall, kissed him once, there wasn't anything, and she immediately ended it as soon as she realized that, and put all her focus into Dylan. And yeah, it was messy, especially the Caleb Corbin stuff. It was for sure, but she has, I think, taken accountability for that more than Sincere ever did for what he did to Melanie. And it just felt like it took Dylan until family day and his mom putting some sense into him for him to be like, okay, we're good, we can get over it and move forward.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, I mean, at this point in it, if like you're staying with someone, like you're not gonna, Kenny's not gonna switch up now. Like there's no one else to come
Right.
in for her. So it's more just him feeling like those past actions, like maybe could happen, I guess, more in the real world of it all. But I think the family definitely did have a positive impact on their couple. I mean, we'll see if they stay together outside of the villa now. But I think in the villa, at least they were able to get to a place where it wasn't just the arguing all the time,
Yeah.
disagreements of what was happening there.
And the reason why I said this is what he's telling her is because there is a lot of speculation I see online that Dylan is acting a little bit and that he was really wanting to be the victim of Kenzie. Like that from when he came in, like he saw that Kenzie was moving a little messy in the villa and he thought, I can couple up with Kenzie and I know that she's probably going to move the same way that she did in the past and then I can be the victim of this and America's going to love me and I can be the one to stand up to her and say this is wrong and there's a double standard here and that everyone would rally around him. But the problem is that she didn't move that way with him once she really committed to him. She's been loyal to him. And so I think he's having a little bit of a harder time with it and it's just coming across not the way he maybe wanted it to, and it's coming more so off like he is just can't get over things that if he wants to have a healthy relationship he needs to be able to move on from when she apologizes in a very sincere way, no pun intended, and or very non-sincere way, more like.
True.
And yeah, I think I loved his mom though. I thought his mom was great, and she was made complete sense. And she told him, "Look, like Ken, I like Kenzie. Kenzie is was apologetic, and you need to move forward with it." And it seemed like that did. He does put a lot of weight into his mom's opinion, and that did move the needle for him. It seemed like.
Yeah, for sure. But then they did end up getting dumped from the villa from America's Vote during their Chinese takeout dinner night. So they just got a text that they were no longer in the villa. It was kind of an awkward dinner. It felt like it was like everyone just getting a text if they're there or not for the next episode.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it was fine. At least then they were able to like say their goodbyes, hug everyone when they had to leave. But I wasn't that shocked about this. Were you?
No, I fully expected that they would go home. Yeah, I agree with you. It was, I mean, it was a kind of a cute way, I guess, to for them to find out if they're in the finale with the fortune cookie. But I think it, I don't know, it was fine, but a little awkward. But I fully was not surprised that Kenzie and Dylan went home here. I think this was expected. This was the right call.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll have to see what happens with Kenzie and Dylan now on the outside of things, but they are no longer in Fiji now.
I will say
Um,
on After Sun, I thought that they came across better. Like I
mhm.
could see a little bit more of their chemistry and personality on After Sun than I ever really did in the villa. So I have maybe like if I had maybe 15% chance of them being together by reunion before that, maybe now I have 25% chance.
Okay, pretty a good chance maybe. We'll see on what happens. But for a couple that I actually do see staying together, Casey and Tiara, they did become official this week when Casey set up a scavenger hunt for her to find him and then him ask her to be his girlfriend. He had all the guys involved with this, like having photos in different places. So I thought it was a cute idea. It was funny because at first she was like, "What's going on?" Like she almost spoiled it for herself to not be surprised of what was going to be at the end there. But I thought it was fun and it was really sweet to see them and everyone cheering for them to be an official couple.
Yeah, I thought this was very cute. I mean, look, there's a lot that can be said about Casey in the way that he treated Anaya during Casa in particular that I do not support and have not forgotten. But I do really think that he loves Tara and that she loves him. And there's, well, maybe that's overboard. They very much like each other, and
I
I
mean,
I
she's
think
basically said she loves him.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I just don't want to go overboard here, but I do think that
Yeah.
they really have a good relationship and a lot of chemistry. And I thought this was a very cute way to ask her to be his girlfriend. And I do have a lot of hope that they will give it a good try outside the villa, whether they stay together in the long run or not. I fully believe that they will still be together come reunion at the very least.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like as a whole, yeah, we can't forget what happened with Casey. And And Anaya, but she has forgiven him, so it's like, okay, at least like she was able to move past it and be happy for him and Tiara together. So I also want to see the bright side of things. But it'll be
Yeah, I
interesting
can't
to
be
see
more
what
mad than
happens.
Anaya is the thing. Like if Anaya is forgiven, then I do too. Why would I not?
Yeah. For sure. But then they are obviously then they are dumped from the villa, also by receiving a text that they are no longer in the villa anymore. But I actually was slightly surprised that this happened. I knew that Casey and Tiara did have a lot of fans. I feel like a lot. I mean, I don't know about a lot, but they have like they're a reasonable couple here. Like, if you're looking for what's like who's the strongest couple, like seems like they are stronger than Melanie and Sincere. So you would think maybe some people would vote for them over that other couple, but they didn't get as many votes, so they did not make it into the finale.
I will say this surprised me as well. I actually expected that it would be Zach and Kada, not Melanie and Sincere, just based on the fact that Zach and Kada were in the bottom for the last vote.
Sure.
But if it were me choosing, I would eliminate Melanie and Sincere here
Yeah.
because I agree with you. They are the weakest couple just based on the toxicity and tumultuous nature of their relationship. And the fact that I feel like for the first couple votes, Melanie and Sincere, a lot of people I think just wanted because of the drama. But like this vote, drama should play no factor into it. There's one episode left. You're not going to get drama regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people are voting for Melanie and Sincere anymore, other than the fact that they just love Melanie. But if you love Melanie, you should try to give her a sign that maybe we don't support this relationship because that might be confusing her. The fact that they keep
Yeah.
moving forward in the votes and not being in the bottom maybe is making her think that we support them as a couple more than we do. But I didn't, because the fact that they had not been on the bottom, I didn't expect that they would be here. So I kind of just assumed that it would be the same and that Zach and Kada would go home. But I guess it must have been a really close vote between Tiara and Casey and Zach and Kada. And the last time it just kind of worked out the other way. And this time Casey and Tiara just didn't quite get as many.
Yeah, for sure. It's just the voting. Whenever we don't know the exact totals, but I feel like it was pretty close between the two as well as for second kid. I'm surprised. I mean, I feel like I'm not totally surprised because she's one of the core four of the women. So it's like people wanted them in the finals together. So it made sense in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving in then to Zach and Kata as the next couple on our list here, but they are in the finals. So they do exclusively they decide that they are exclusive now. They're gonna be exclusive but not officially boyfriend girlfriend. And this is a topic of conversation because Trinity is like, no, this is a situationship, girl. Like, what? This isn't a relationship, or if it's not a relationship, then it's a situationship. But I think exclusive, it does mean that they're not dating anyone else, which is essentially means boyfriend, girlfriend. They just don't want the title yet because they want to see what it's like in the real world, which I think makes sense in that regard. But it was just funny. Not, I guess it's not funny for Kata because she was actually really upset and feeling that the girls weren't supporting her. But overall, then she's able to talk it out and reconcile with everyone. But I feel like as a whole, it was interesting to see like they've been together like basically the longest of everyone, and then they're like the least compatible at this point. It feels like, or like not compatible, but like the least officially like official as a couple
Yeah.
of who's been together this long.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I don't know that Melanie and Sincere.
Well,
I mean, if I guess they're off and on
they were off and
together,
on,
but
like because Kata and Zach
yeah,
have been together.
been very steady. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, look, to me, this is so silly. I don't understand why they can't just be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, what? I don't understand the difference. I really don't. But I get it's
yeah,
literally just a different name, but the definition is exactly the same in my understanding. They're not going to be dating anyone else. They are only dating each other. I don't know what else, whatever, but it's fine. Whatever makes them happy makes me happy. Like, and I understand Trinity calling it a situation. I actually, here's what I, maybe it's a hot take because it seemed like all the cameramen on After Sun agreed with Trinity. I actually don't agree with Trinity here, though. I don't think it's the same as a situationship.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you agree. Like I think those are two very different things. I don't understand the difference between exclusive and boyfriend girlfriend. I
Yeah.
do understand the difference between situationship and exclusive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you. I feel like because exclusive is just a like half step before boyfriend girlfriend when there's not really a need for that half step. Like it's just like
Mhm.
just become boyfriend girlfriend at that point. But a situationship means someone's not committing and they're trying to like be wishy washy or like non committal and overall like they're dating multiple people or they're just not wanting a relationship and then it's called a situationship. But Zach and Kata both said that's not the case. Like they both want a relationship. They're just waiting to the outside world.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think that I can understand Kata being upset with Trinity for like saying this is a situationship because I
Mhm.
think they have different definitions of situationship, it seems like. And I don't think Trinity necessarily viewed it as like a bad thing. Whereas I think Kata, more like me at least, I do think of situationship as kind of a weirdly negative connotation. And so I can understand Kata being upset that Trinity was calling it that based on Kata's understanding of what that word means.
Yeah, I agree. But it's fine. We'll see what happens if they actually become boyfriend girlfriend or not.
Yeah,
Now,
what do you think? What do
I
you think
mean,
they.
if Zach, as he said in their final date, Zach says he wants to move to the States. I feel like if that's the
Mhm.
case, then I could really see it working out. But if they're far across ponds, then I don't think then that's gonna work out super well.
Mhm.
Just time difference, flights, it's not close in that regard. So I think if he does move, that could definitely help and prolong their relationship.
I do not think they're going to work out in the long run. I think that they may still be together by reunion. I think they'll give it a good try. I just think in a year we will get a statement from them. I will say sometime within the next year. Like I think by the time Love Island season 9 starts, they will not be together anymore and they will release a joint statement that we are remaining best friends and we want the best for each other. It was just too hard to make it work long distance and I don't see them being endgame, and I could even maybe see one of them being on next season of Love Island Games. That's what I'll say. Just months after their breakup.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, we'll see. I think Zach will maybe the fame will get to him and he'll turn his head and not want to be loyal to Kata as much as she wants to be with him. So I could
I could
definitely,
see it,
yeah,
yeah. But I
but
could
I
see
don't,
even if it's not a big scandal, I can just see them not
yeah,
quite being as compatible in the outside world as they were in the villa.
yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see what happens. But they did make it to the finale, but they did not win. They got fourth place. So that was not surprising though, because we knew that they were probably the weakest one of those, or the least popular one. We don't know about weakest, you know. There's lots
Yeah.
of variations here. But it was nice to see them there on their final date and their moments together, and they also get to see more of the family videos as well, like because Zach's parents didn't come, so it was nice to see
Hmm.
them send video notes as well.
Yeah. No, look, I do think that there are moments where I think they're cute together. I think there's been too much other moments from Zach in particular that I just feel like once Kata sees it, maybe she'll be a little bit upset about it. Like the hideaway moment where he just kept saying like, "Well, if a bombshell comes in and blah blah blah." Like I don't know. There were just like little things where I think that Zach is a little bit more of a playboy and might I don't know. I just for whatever reason I can't even like put it into words. I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, but I just don't think they're as compatible as they think they are.
Yeah. Well, I We'll have to see, but I do agree with you on that part that it might just be maybe for show in some regards. But let's move into our next couple, which is Carl and Anaya. So it was nice to see them continue their connection from Casa. Obviously, once Carl came back after Anaya didn't pick him, they kind of just rekindled it right away, it seems like, and got to build up to make it to the finale together, which was really great to see. And Family Day was really nice, seeing both of them with their families. And in particular, you mentioned this last week that Anaya wasn't standing up to show that Melanie shouldn't be with Sincere. So Anaya's mom told her that she needed to be more honest with Melanie, and that telling her about the toxic situation that obviously everyone knows about, but that she was kind of ignoring it in some regard, or not really bringing it up to Melanie as much as she should have. So it's great to see Anaya's mom standing on that business there. So that was nice.
I loved Anaya's mom. Oh my god, it was like everything that we've been wanting Anaya to say. Uh, Her mom said to Anaya, and it's just like, oh my god, thank you. Like, I'm so glad somebody. It's what we always want, like on Big Brother. I feel like where it's like, oh my god, you're making the stupidest move. I just want somebody like to fly a plane and tell you to do this or whatever. And it's like on Love Island, because they're not as strict with, allowing family members to come in and allowing bombshells to come in who have watched the show or whatever. It's like we get these little corrections as the season goes on because they're talking to people who have watched the show and are saying, why aren't you saying this? Why are you doing this? Why are you going back to him? Why are you not being a good enough friend to her? It's like, oh, thank you. And now we get to see what happens, when somebody is actually giving you the right information. And in this case, it's 2 days later, go exactly back to where we started.
I know. It just keeps happening that way. But at least it opened her eyes up a little bit.
Yeah. So very briefly, Anaya does say to Melanie right after that, like, hey, Mama Harvey told me that I am not being honest enough with you about how bad everything that Sincere has done is. And I apologize if I have been encouraging you to go back to him and saying Team Sincere and all that. And, you don't deserve to be in a relationship that's that toxic. And in that moment, I was like, yes, exactly. Thank you, Anaya. Like, I'm so glad we're back on the right page here. And Melanie was great in that moment because she didn't just say, like, oh, it's fine. No, no, no. She did say, look, it was confusing for me to have you been saying that, and that I'm seeing all this stuff with my own two eyes. And then right after that, you're telling me, but he has good intentions, but he's changing, but he's trying so hard. He wants to be back with you. Like, and that's confusing for Melanie. Of course it is. And so I was glad that she kind of like put her feet to the fire a little bit, but wasn't too hard. Like she said, I love you. You're fine. I know you didn't do it on purpose, blah, blah, blah. And then she talks to Trinity, and they're like, oh, but I really do think that Sincere is trying and that he wants to be with her and that they're destined to be together and all this stuff. It's like, we're back where we started. And then the next day, it's just like in the finale, then Anaya is just like, oh, the best thing is that you guys just always came back to each other. And it's like, that's not good. That's the definition of toxicity. That just means that they're in this cycle where he does something terrible and then he apologizes. She yells at him, but then forgives him, and it's like that's the definition of it. Is that it just keeps happening. They keep coming back to each other, and it's like you got to just break the cycle. That's the only way to get out of this.
Yeah, I know, and they probably won't break up until they see it all back, because obviously they were still together at this finale.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I do think that
yeah,
like once
anything else
Melanie.
before we move into Sincere Melanie, or anything for Carl and Anaya?
Oh, I forgot we're talking about Carl and Anaya. Yeah, Carl and Anaya very cute. I was really really glad that Carl was there for Anaya when she was going through everything with Casey after Casa. Like, I think that I'm so glad that he came back because I think it would have been really, really hard for Anaya to deal with all of that without having him there. I don't
Mhm.
really see them as a lasting couple. I see them more as just like very close friends and confidants. I would be happy if they stayed together. I don't think it's impossible. I just don't quite see that spark, that chemistry. I think that they just really are great friends, and I hope that maybe something develops between them. Maybe they just didn't have long enough to really get on the same level. Maybe it's just comparing them to couples that have been together this whole time, and that's unfair to do. But I just think that they are probably like the least connected couple of the final four to me. So it's hard to see that vision of them being married and together forever. But regardless, it was worth it because she needed to have him there for the last half of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I like them together, so we'll have to see what happens. But I do hope that they stay together because I think they are cute and have potential to make it pretty far. I don't know how long, but I could see them staying together for sure. But for a couple that I hope does not stay together, let's get into Sincere and Melanie now. But I mean, they started off the week seeming like in a really good place. They even get picked to go to the hideaway together, so they're starting off the week strong, but then with Family Day, Melanie's family did not want anything to do with Sincere. They tell her straight up that she's given him too many chances to change and he never will. That like it's just in his nature and he will not be totally truthful. So they do not want Melanie to stay with him. And even Sincere's dad was saying the same thing. He's like, "Oh, I don't support my son's behavior. I did not raise him this way." So this was the drama of the week. It felt like because no one else was really causing much drama this week. So I'm glad that we could get at least some sort of more drama from Melanie and Sincere for our finale week.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I loved Melanie's family and Sincere's dad not sugarcoating anything. Like, they said it exactly what they needed to say, and they did not let Melanie like think that this was okay, and it really seemed to get to her. Like, that really just broke her almost, hearing all of this. And you could tell also on the other side of things that Sincere, like, that was really one of the first times that I felt like Sincere was just really like taking it all in, and like you could tell he respects his dad's opinion, and that hearing that from him was surprising, and like really made him like think. And uh, I don't know that he still will change, or I don't believe him. I will believe it when I see it. We're not going to see it. We're not going to know. I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
just don't think that. I think that Melanie. The one thing that I guess I wish like that his dad had told him was that like you maybe need to let her have some space, like after you get out of the villa. I think what they need to do is tell each other, like, or Melanie needs to tell him at least, like, I need a couple months. Like, I don't want to talk to you for, like, we're not breaking up, but I need to have like some time alone to be with my family, to really like take everything in and like think about the experience that we just had together, and decide what I want to do moving forward. And then I will reach back out to you when I'm ready to have that conversation. But I think if they just get out of there and just spend all their time together and never have a chance to really like think about everything that just happened, then I don't think that she's going to be making clear, like, rational, informed decisions.
Yeah, I agree. She definitely needs to take some space, but we'll see what goes down in the real world, what she realizes if she realizes that she should not stay with Sincere, or she still wants to give him a second, a third, fourth chance at this point, of to prove himself. But I know she doesn't want to leave not together because she just still thinks like, what if, like in the real world, like what's gonna happen there versus what's happening in the villa is gonna be different. So just gotta let her live, I guess, and figure it out on her
Yeah.
own.
And I get it. Like I completely understand that because I think I would feel the same way if I was her. Like you have to like you don't want to like, break up, get out of there, and then just that whole time be thinking like, well, what if like he's not going to be like this in the outside world, and like this was just truly him thinking that he was like wanting the full Love Island experience, but maybe he's a completely different, completely trustworthy person in the outside world, and I was stupid for not giving him that chance. And I understand that, but I think it was this was almost too crossing the line so much that I don't think that he can be that different of a person on the outside. Like the way that he moved was just so incredibly disrespectful that like that would he would have to be an entirely different human on the outside world to like be somebody who she should be with.
Yeah,
And I just
definitely.
don't see that. But hey, she has to do it in her own time and
Yeah.
do it when she's ready. So
Yeah. I mean, they
it is
did
what it
make it
is.
to third place on the finale, so that was surprising. But I mean, I don't know if that's that surprising. People do really like Melanie, so that's
Yeah,
why.
not surprising only because Kata and Zach had been in the bottom before and they hadn't, so I kind of
Yeah.
expected that that would be the case.
Yeah, for sure. But then our winners, Bryce and Trinity, of course, as we predicted, there really wasn't any other outcome I could think of of who was going to win this season. But they have been strong all along after they didn't even like they both tried to leave and then they immediately came back to each other the first night or second night. So like from then they've been together ever since. So it's been nice to see their journey together, and in their final date they tell each other that they love each other. So Bryce tells her first and then Trinity says it back. So it was really sweet to see that happen. And I definitely can see them lasting. I mean, they've already kind of been talking about the outside world. We know that Bryce is a DJ. Trinity can be there at the booths, supporting him, dancing. I feel like that could be a fun duo there. We have to go and see them. Hopefully, they come to Houston. But I just love
Fingers
seeing them,
crossed.
and I'm very happy for them to win this season.
I was yeah. I mean, I was thrilled. I think we all expected this ever since Casa, basically. Like
Yeah.
when we saw Bryce crying and wanting to just go back to Trinity, and I think that was the moment where everyone was like, "Oh, this is real. Like this
Yeah.
isn't a relationship that's going to get broken up by a bombshell coming in. Like these are real, true feelings." And I think from that moment on, we all just expected them to be the winners, and that's not a bad thing. I think that we didn't say that in a bad way, like, oh, this is boring. Like, I think we were just like waiting for this moment, like, I'm really happy for them. So this show's not about who wins. Like, it's an
Yeah.
exciting, fun moment to make sure our favorites win, like in this case, but it's about the journey along the way that we're all tuning in for. So thrilled for them, and yeah, I this is the one couple that I fully expect and really really hope will make it in the outside world.
Me too. And
But look at how
their
far
family.
it's so crazy that like the first week, like we just thought, I said on the pod, like I was like, this is the worst couple in Love Island history, and like they will, if they're still together a week from now, like I'm gonna be shocked. And look at them now, look at us now, look how I have egg on my
You
face.
reverse jinxed it.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Yeah.
Yes. So let me and Big Brother say, I really hope that Rome and Camu and Haley make it all the way to the end. They're gonna make it all the way, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
reverse
before we get
jinx that.
into Love Island, or before we get to Big Brother, let's just finish up Love Island really quickly. We did get to see Ariana say the reunion will drop August 31st. So we have to wait about a month and a half for that to come out. But I'm excited to see which couples are still together, who's not. So it's exciting times here now. Now that Love Island is closed, we'll obviously be following them on Instagram, TikTok. They already all are posting. I mean, not the finale, the finalists, but everyone else who's gone right now have already had their phones back. So it's fun to see people, especially Gal and Jen. It's been funny to see their
They've been very
TikTok
funny.
and Instagram
Yeah.
posts. All been fun to see their banter still in real life. And everyone's still like commenting like that they only support Jen and not Gal, even though they're still commenting on Gal's
As they
stuff.
should, yes.
Yeah, but it's fun to see all that stuff. So we'll be keeping up in the outside world of it all too. But
Oh, I'm sure
hopefully,
there's going to be a lot leading up to
yeah,
reunion. Like in the next few weeks, there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of updates from all of them, and hopefully a lot to talk about at this reunion. So
yeah,
I'm excited, looking forward to it.
I agree.
But in the meantime, we have a new season of Big Brother that has started. We did a draft last week, and now the show has begun. We are 2.5 episodes in, I guess you could say, if you count Unlocked as like a half an episode, like Australian Survivor's half a Survivor season, some might say. So we are a few days into live feeds as well, so a lot has happened, a lot to get to. But Molly, what has your just kind of overall thoughts been so far on our first few days here?
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to see Big Brother back. I feel like it's already in full swing already with showmances, alliances, all the good stuff with Big Brother. Also, obviously, very happy to see the reality icons who are here, which are Angela, Dee, and Rick Devens. I'm already loving them from this season. I feel like it's fun to have them in the mix here as well. So I'm enjoying it as a whole.
I really am too. I think I thought the premiere was very fun, very campy, very Big Brother. Would not expect anything less than somebody being thrown into a volcano by a velociraptor. Just a normal day at the office here. And I thought that Unlocked was very fun. And I thought that the Sunday night's episode was also really great. And the feeds have been, look, nothing like extremely dramatic has happened yet, but I think it's been a very fun couple of days that were very different from last season, where I think last season was very fun because nobody knew what they were doing and it was just incredibly messy and everybody was putting up their allies and making the worst possible decisions every HOH. And this season so far we've had a very capable HOH putting together a power structure. What a concept. And people refusing to put up their alliance members, and when that's being suggested unknowingly by other people, and they're actually doing things that are best for them. And it seems like we have a lot of capable game players here this season, and I'm really excited to see how it all plays out.
I agree. It's off to a good start.
Well, let's start then with the premiere because we see the first 14 house guests move in, and Julie. So it was funny, they did it like girls first, and then Julie was fun in this premiere. I thought she was
Yeah.
like more animated than we've ever seen Julie. And she's like, when it's just the girls on stage, she's like, it's an all women season. Yay. Just kidding. I thought, don't tease me like that, Julie. That's literally my dream. Like, don't do that to me. Don't get my hopes up. I know I've seen the cast, but like, that's still somehow like I was like, oh, really? But
Yeah.
no.
No, that thought was funny too.
But then, and she even made a joke like that. Oh, we have over 100 microphones. We'll hear everything you say unless you're whispering too quietly. So I thought even like little jokes she put in there, I was like, they got a new writer this season and new social media person. Like they've been killing it so far this season. I think they somehow must have gotten more Gen Z people working for them or something. But, anyways, Julie, after the first 14 move in, she reveals to them that none of them will be the first HOH and that three more people will be joining them. So Then they go over to the dining room table and they see Enzo Palumbo on the screen, and he is back as the leader of Meow Meow Industries, and has invented a dining room time machine where Julie explains that they will be going back into the past in three groups of four, where they will compete against each other for safety this week and recruit one reality icon. Each group will bring back one person to into the house with them. So what did you think about like this structure of how they did this with the three challenges and each one would bring back one reality icon?
I mean, I think it was kind of cool in a way that they could make different challenges and unique to like more of the time period of whatever they chose for for each icon. But I thought it was interesting too because then there was also various different kind of competitions to see, which made it more interesting and not just like everyone all in one thing. So I enjoy that aspect. I feel like the bringing them back was loose. Like obviously they were all coming back anyways, like into the house for
Yeah,
the
what if
reality
they didn't give
icon
them the
side.
note? What if they forgot?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's like they kind of had no choice. Like they were still coming. But I thought it was fun overall.
Yeah, I mean, look, like there's something to be said. Like it is kind of unfair that they're forcing one of the reality icons to be the first HOH. I would have rather everybody
Yeah.
competed for HOH and just let it be, let it happen what's going to happen. But I did not
Mhm.
expect anything less from Big Brother to give a little bit of an edge, a little advantage to the returning players, or in this case, just reality veterans, because those are the big names. They want to make sure that none of them go out first. So giving one of them HOH, it's assumed that they're probably all going to work together as there's only three of them and they need each other. So I think that the producers expected that they would not nominate each other. And so giving just one of them HOH was basically the same thing as giving them all immunity for the week.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought that the challenges were fun as well. Like, I think it's good that they're doing like three completely different challenges. We've seen sometimes in the past when they used to do the live premieres that they would just have like three or four groups go and do the same challenge over and over again. And it was like, oh my God. Or just like something where it's just something really not fun to watch and we're just watching a live competition of something that like we can't see what's happening and or just nothing's happening and it's like an endurance thing and it's just kind of boring. So I thought each of these challenges was fun enough, and I had no issues with it. So I thought overall, I thought this was a good way to spend a lot of the chunk of the time of the premiere.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, then, so as you might, if you are a mathematician, you might have noticed that three groups of four is only 12, and there's 14 of them there. So that means that two of them did not have the chance to compete for safety, and to determine who those two would be, they have to activate the time machine, of course, and by bringing back the correct vials of BB-tonium. And there are 12 vials, so there's on each of them there was like a math equation basically that had to add up to a certain number, and they had to find the vial that added up to that number. And Barrett and Ashley were the two that were unable to find those in time, and so they were not able to compete for safety, which I was really sad because Barrett and Ashley, well, Barrett at least was someone I was really rooting for. I have come to like Ashley a lot and am rooting for her. Maybe at the time I didn't care that much about Ashley not being in there, but Barrett, I was very sad because I was hoping that he would get safety here because he was one of my faves.
Yes, I agree. I was also rooting for Barrett to get this, but I feel like in a way it almost is a good thing because then it makes them not seem like targets since they didn't get the first
Hmm.
challenge that was finding the vials to put them in to the time machine. So I mean, it doesn't really hurt them too badly here because only three people are getting that safety overall who are competing. So I think it was fine.
Did you think that this would have been a good time for them to do a collab with the Vile Files?
I know. As soon as I said Vile, I was like, oh my gosh, the Vile Files. Of course, I always support Nick. Just kidding, not always, but I do support Nick.
Yeah, not always. That's a dangerous statement to say with Nick File. But yeah, I look. I think that in my mind, initially, I was scared for them because I thought, oh, these are two very easy people to put up now. Like, okay,
Yeah,
you were the two that didn't that didn't find it, so easy nominations if there were only two nominations. But of course, now there are three that the HOH has to make, so that makes it a little more complicated, a little more difficult, and not as easy when two people kind of stand out like that to just say, you're the two. So the first group travels back to Long Beach, California on July 9th, 1988. And we see an actress playing a young Angela Murray, and Rome wins safety here. And he hands young Angela the note that, of course, she has a little bit of an attitude about because it's a young Angela Murray. And then we see Angela enter the house. What were your thoughts seeing Angela enter here?
I was so excited to see her. Obviously, we already knew that from the spoilers of the announcements of her being on season, or it was only a spoiler, but I mean, they didn't announce her until kind of late, but we knew before it was officially announced. But it was exciting to see her back, and I'm really excited to see how she plays this season.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I mean, we'll get to how she's been playing this season actually. I won't spoil my thoughts quite yet, but very excited to see her enter, and it seemed like pretty much every because I feel like you can tell when somebody enters the house, like a veteran enters the house. I like to see everybody's reaction to see who recognizes them and who doesn't. I think she's a
Yeah.
recent enough season that pretty much everybody recognized her that
Yeah.
I as far as I could tell. So I don't
Yeah.
think that was a problem, but it seemed like yeah, everyone was very excited to see Angela and to know that they are going to be on a roller coaster ride, being in a house with her for the next 87 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, then the second group travels back to Fiji on July 7th of 2018, and I was wondering. I was trying to figure out what that date was for the second, and then I very quickly Googled the filming dates for Survivor 38, and that was the date of the final tribal council of Survivor 38. Sorry, that was the date that the date that it filmed. So that was then I knew that that was Rick Devens that they were going to find, and not Dee, obviously, because she didn't play till the new era in 2023. But Chuck wins safety here, and they bring back Rick Devens. So, what were your thoughts on seeing Rick enter the house? And we saw on BB Unlocked that there was a little bit of controversy between him and Taylor in this moment that we didn't see when it first aired on premiere night.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. I didn't realize that until obviously seeing MBB Unlocked here. But I think as a whole, Rick Devens is always so much fun to watch and on our TV screen, especially with season 50 that just aired. He really came out as a star from that season. So I'm really excited to see how he'll play on Big Brother, as he was also mentioning that Big Brother is much more of a long game versus it being a lot faster pace. And Rick Devens likes that fast pace, it seems like. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of adjusts his game strategy and prolonging that strategy and not making any big moves so early on that could maybe bite him in the butt later. So I'm really excited to see him here and see how just overall he works with people in the house.
It was very funny because the first thing that I thought about when we saw the Taylor thing was Jenna telling us that, when she met him, that he was not necessarily the most, like, oh, not going to give you a hug, and not the most, like, physical. I don't know. I'm not explaining this right, but like, he's very nice, but just maybe a little bit awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, that seems like that actually came into play here, where he forgot to say hi to Taylor when she said hello to him, and he kind of just skipped over her, of course not on purpose, but that did hurt her feelings a little bit, and she was like, "I'm not going to take it personally." Oh, yes, I am, and So I don't know that that ever actually came into play, and like we haven't
Mhm.
seen it brought up again ever since then, whether on the show or
Yeah.
on the feeds. But it was certainly something to note that in the future, if Taylor becomes HOH, maybe in the next week or two, it's possible that that could play a factor.
Yeah, I could see it. Maybe.
Well, then the last group travels back to Las Vegas on June 27th, 2010. And this was the one that confused me the most because I was like, Dee's not from Vegas. Like, what are we, like, what is this date that they chose here? And Jason wins safety, and they bring Rachel Riley back into the house. And I'm like, Rachel Riley, what are you doing here? That's not, you're not Dee, and very quickly realized kind of what they were doing, that this was a big fake out. And Rachel, what really gave it away to me was Rachel's over the top acting. Like, it just felt like she was being a caricature of herself, which is already such a caricature. But everything was just so of like, the queen is here, like, and like it just, everything was just like very over the top, which is already Rachel. So for it to feel over the top for Rachel is saying something. And then,
Yeah.
of course, they go back into the backyard and they travel back to the Jurassic era for the three reality icons to compete for HOH. And we see a velociraptor come out who starts pushing Rachel into a volcano where she meets her untimely demise. And then, of course, on Unlocked, we find out that she is being replaced by Dee Valladares. So, what did you think of all of that? Was there at any point did you believe that Rachel Riley was going to be competing on this season?
I think when I first saw her, I was just more confused than not understanding. I was like, wait, no, it's supposed to be D. Like, this can't be. So, just, it was like at first, I didn't really believe it, but I also was like, maybe they try to trick us in a way that it might be Rachel. But then what you're saying with her being over the top, I definitely noticed that as well with it, just her acting there. It was funny though, because I felt like it was nice to see her for a little bit of time and then have her fall or get pushed into this volcano, a very staged moment. But it was fun. I thought overall it was just maybe a little too cheesy.
My favorite thing were like the Facebook comments from people that I've seen screenshots of that are like, was that staged? I'm like, no, no. It was a real
Of
velociraptor,
course
and it
not.
actually killed Rachel Riley, threw her into a volcano, a real volcano, and she is no longer with us, and was had every intention of being on this season. Like, what? Let's use our brains here, people. But I thought this was cute. Look, because she went out in such a bad, like, just a way that left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth last season, that I think this was kind of BB's way of like almost making it up to Rachel and kind of allowing her to have another opportunity to come back in the house and play a part in this premiere, and that we can kind of make a little bit of a joke out of the white locust now. And I was glad to see that Rachel's still willing to do that, because I think when she left last season, we were all like, is this going to like ruin Rachel's relationship with Big Brother, which is a show that she has championed and loved for all this time and all these 15, 16 years now since she first started. And like, is that going to kind of be the end of it? But I'm glad to see that she is still very much willing to come back when they ask her and be a part of the show and do fun things like this. And I look, at the end of the day, I thought this was very fun and campy.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, then we get to BB Unlocked on Friday night. What did you think? It was a very revamped version of BB Unlocked, a new set, a new co host with Jerry O'Connell. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it this season. I feel like last year I didn't really want to watch them a ton because I didn't think we were getting a ton of new information from it, or just more of like the talk show aspect of it. But this year already, part of the episode was actually seeing that Dee was coming in. So it was actually not just like the talk show part, but an actual episode part of it too, of like what we're seeing from the house. So I really like that aspect. I mean, I like the co-hosts also. I love Taylor and Derek, and now with Jerry O'Connell too. So I think it is fun addition to the week of episodes. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I am too. I thought this was fantastic. I think it basically took every note that I would have had, and I thought it was great. I loved how we just like went straight into the episode, basically, not
Yeah.
even BP unlocked immediately at the start. I was like, whoa, like I didn't think that we were just going to go straight into seeing D come out and getting everyone's reaction to it. And I loved the little behind the scenes interviews before the house guests walked in, and they talked with Taylor and Derek, and like I thought all of that was very fun. I loved that they brought Rachel out and we got to hear because she was in the house with them, and she for a
Yeah.
period of time, at least a few hours, it seemed like she was making alliances, like she was doing all that. And I thought it was fun to hear her takes on it, because she's not just a person watching the show and watching what we saw. She had some actual other behind the scenes information about them that we didn't see. And so I thought all of it was fantastic, and I thought even the set was great, and it felt more casual, felt like more like a podcast, which I think is the direction that After Sun also went on with Love Island, and I think that direction is generally better than the more kind of sports centery version that they went for last year, and I think this is working so much better on all different levels.
Yeah, I agree. I like the audience, and they had an audience the last
Yeah.
year, right?
No,
Or
they did
did
not.
no,
I
they
thought the
didn't?
audience
Oh,
was fun. Yeah.
yeah. So I like that. I'm like, now we need to do another trip to LA and just get into the audience for
I
that. It sounds
know.
but no, I like that. But yeah, for sure. I think they definitely listened to the feedback last year and took that into account, which is great.
Yeah. Well, then on Sunday night's episode, we see that Dee is the first HOH. So it's basically a survivor esque puzzle that they had to do, and the rest of their team, who went and brought them in, is holding up the puzzle so that it doesn't fall down. And we see that she promises before she wins, she promises her team of Lyric, Jason, Melody, and Yash that she will keep them safe if she's HOH. Keep that in mind later, because that does come into play here. What did you think about Dee being the first HOH this season? Did you think that that was something that she should have wanted to be the first HOH? Does it put too much of a target on her back, or was that a good move for her to go for it?
I mean, out of her, Angela and Devins, I kind of had a feeling it was probably going to be D winning this all for this HOH this week. But I think her abilities, just like be friends and like talk to people, be very personable, I think won't end up biting her in the butt of being the first HOH. I think because everyone understands that, and she'll also, as we saw, like be able to take some feedback from or advice from Angela on what she should do and not do of being first HOH. So I think with that, it definitely helped her as well. But I'm excited to see, and I'm excited that D won this first HOH and see how it shapes the game.
Yeah, I mean, I always am a proponent of winning the first HOH, because I think it's the only way to guarantee that you are going to be in the big alliance. If there is one that forms a strong big alliance, you're pretty much going to guarantee that you will be a part of that if you are the first HOH. And that is so
Yeah.
important that you are in the room when the big gameplay is happening in the first week. That is so important. And you get to basically have your pick of the litter. You get to form the alliance that you want with the people that you trust. And I just think that if you can, it's not the easiest to navigate, because you are making decisions on the least amount of information that any HOH will be the whole season. So that can be something that you are not good at navigating, like we've seen in the past 5 seasons with these horrible first HOHs that go very, very wrong, including Angela. But this D seems to be, I trust D to be good at this, even if she's really never seen a lot of Big Brother. Survivor similar enough. She's good enough. She's very capable. I fully expected her to be good at this, and I think we have seen in this Sunday night's episode that she is very good at this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dee, Angela, and Devins all talk, and there's a lot of talk about Dee and Devins like coming in from and their rocky relationship that they had on Survivor 50. I didn't ever think that that was going to be much of a problem. Didn't play much together. They went to two tribals together. Like that's not that
Hmm.
much. Dee didn't make it. She was one of the early. She was the first member of the jury. So like they didn't have play enough together for there to really be bad blood. So I thought, very quickly that was on water under the bridge. But Dee, Angela, and Devins, as the reality icons, want to solidify an alliance together, and they talk about who they want to bring in with them. And they decide on Drew and Barrett. And they then later meet as a five and name themselves the Crossovers. So, what do you think of this group of five?
Well, of course, we said we're rooting for Barrett, so it was awesome to see him in this group here because being with the reality icons is a good place to be in because they're the ones who have experience of being on the shows, either Survivor or Big Brother. So I feel like with that, they're already in a good spot. And I like Drew. Also, I think he's fun. And as we were kind of saying, kind of gives a little bit of like Rizzo vibes in a way.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it for a good group. I'm rooting for this alliance.
I love this group. Like, if I were to come up with a group of five that I would want on this season to work together, it's this five. Like, there's
Yeah.
really nobody else that I am like, oh, I wish this person was in it. Like, I love all of them, and I guess maybe Jason, but like, I actually, from watching more here, I'm kind of. He has a weird thing with Devons that he does not like Devons, so I would not expect that he would be in this group. So I love these five, and I really really hope that this has some legs and they are able to work together, stay together, and make it far in this game. I think that would be very very fun.
Yeah. I agree.
But that is not the only alliance that Dee and Devons get themselves into because Kamu and Chuck decide that they want to work together and they want to bring in Haley. And Dee, however, when she is talking to, I think it was Devons, she very quickly clocks that these three are working together. So she wants to infiltrate their group because she sees them as a group that's very likely to win competitions, which very smart. They probably are. And so Kamu and Chuck come up to the HOH room and meet with Dee. And even though she's the one who wants to infiltrate them, they're the ones who bring this to her, actually. So they do all the work for her. And they tell her that they want to work with her, Haley, and Devins. So this is even better for Dee because she's already working with Devins, but she very smartly doesn't tell them that. She tells them like, okay, like if you think he's good for the group, then I am happy to have him added to it. So they all meet as a group and they form what is called the Red Corner Alliance. Now, a lot of speculation online that this was a Republican MAGA thing, the red part of it, but
Mm.
they explain it as being a fighting thing that the I guess defending champion is in the red corner, so that's why they call it that.
Mm.
So for any allegations of it being a MAGA thing, that's not how they explain it at the very least. But Kamu wants to target Mallory, Melody, and Lyric, who are viewed as a trio, and also Barrett, because Barrett is was one of the two people who didn't compete for safety, so they think that he's an easy person to nominate, so it doesn't look like it's just a girls thing. But Dee's really using this as a way to just find out who's he's protecting. She's not necessarily going to go for all this, nominate who he wants her to, but she's letting him talk because the more he talks, the more she can see where his head is at, who he's protecting, who he's targeting, and get all the information from him that she needs. So that was a lot. Sorry, but what did you think of the way that Dee and Devons navigated this and how they were kind of going between their two alliances that they've now formed?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was smart just in general. You can't necessarily say no to an alliance at this early in the game. Like, you kind of just have to say yes and listen to what they say, but then later be like, okay, well, this wasn't my true alliance, but at least hear the information. At least they trust her enough to tell her this, which is really good information for her to have. So I thought that was good for Dee to just want to listen to what Kame was saying. And as a whole, like more information is better for you in the game. So it's good on that part. And I think it's really going to show her experience of how she was able to dominate in her season of Survivor as well, of just being so strategic and very easy to talk to everyone. I think it's already showing her skills here from the season so far has only been so early on, but already I'm impressed with Dee again. So I'm excited to see more of how she handles it. And same with Devins. I think he handled it well as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very smart to get in good with the people who are likely going to be physical threats in this game
Yeah.
because Big Brother competitions are often won by physical people. Especially in recent years, the competitions have become more physical, and so those are the people who are likely going to win HOHs, and you want to be in good with them, or they think you are in tight with them, even if you really that's not your real core alliance. And that's exactly kind of what the situation is here, is that they already have their five. Those are the five that they are really, really loyal to, but they want to make sure that Kamu, Chuck, and Haley also think that that's their core alliance. And so they won't put them up, they won't nominate them, and they will keep them in the loop of what the plans are. And that way they have all the information to give back to Angela and Drew and Barrett. And that way then they can navigate and move in a way to keep all of them safe. So I think this is brilliant. This is exactly how Dee and Devins should be navigating this. But Devins then goes a little rogue here. And this is where things might get a little messy in the future because Devins tells Angela and Drew about this fake Red Corner alliance and assures them that this is fake. Our real alliance is with you guys, is with the crossovers. But he wants to make sure that they have all the information so that they can feel assured that they are the real alliance, because it's better coming from him now than later on down the line. Somehow Angela or Drew or Barrett find out about this Red Corner alliance and they're like, why didn't we ever know about this? And that could sketch them out, and then it all crumbles. But Dee is actually upset with Devins for telling them about this because it gives them the power. This is information that they could use against them and blow up their spots later on in the game. So, whose side of that are you on, Dee or Devins?
I think I'm more on D side here. Just, I mean, in general, information, as we're saying, is definitely power in the game. So I think in that way, like Devin's telling Angela and Drew that they're not part of something, like that's not going to sit well with them. And so in the game, like if you think of someone in your alliance you don't want to trust as much, like maybe they would think about Devin's because, and D too, because they're in an alliance that doesn't include them, that they don't know if they can fully trust them. So I thought, yeah, I agree that D was in the right, that he shouldn't have gone and told them the information, at least this early on.
Yeah, I have to say I'm really torn on this actually because I certainly see Dee's point where this could get very messy. Like if somehow something happens, it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line, and Angela starts to not trust Dee and Devins, and she wants to make a play to get them out. Then now she has this information that she can go run to Haley and or Kamu or Chuck and say, "Hey guys, did you know that your alliance is fake?" And give them all that information. It's called the Red Corner Alliance. It's all the name all the people in it. And how did she know this information? And then they know that she's telling the truth, that Dee and Devins ratted it out to them, and it all falls apart. So it's very, very risky, especially with a player like Angela. But on the other hand, it could prevent things from getting messy. The
Yeah.
fact that they know about it now and it can't be accidentally somehow slipped to her. by Haley, Kamu, or Chuck. Like somehow maybe they find out that they've been working with Angela and they can pull in Angela or Barrett or Drew onto their side by informing them about the Red Corner Alliance and getting them suspicious. So like I feel like it could work against them either way, and it's just a matter of like I guess who do you trust more that won't turn against you later in the game, and who do you want to make sure is really on your side. And I do kind of agree with Devins that you really want to keep Angela and Drew and Barrett on your side, because those are the people who I think they really really trust and want as their main core alliance, obviously. um but I think that Devin should have run it by D first. I don't think he should have just done this without going to D and being like, hey, I really think we should do this. How is the best way to go about it? And maybe they could have come up with a better way to do it. Maybe not telling them all the information, but enough. I don't know. I just think like doing it without telling her was maybe a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that was the best move there. And as you're saying, it with it being like maybe down the line of Angela or Drew hearing more about this other alliance, like it could be good. So we just kind of have to see how it plays out in terms of what's going down in these different groups and if it comes back to bite them or not.
We will find out pretty soon, I'm sure. This,
Yeah.
I think that we will know in the next, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks if this group is going to be like for the long haul or if it's going to blow up. And I think that will happen sooner than later, either way.
Yeah.
Well, then we get a little showman segment here with Rome and Lyric. People online are shipping them as Lyme, Lyme. So it's the name of a disease.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fitting or not. I guess we'll find out. They it's being played up like how quickly this showmance is progressing, because we get like a timer on there where it's like day two, still day two, still day two, and everything is happening in the first 2 days. And they kiss for the first time on the night of day two, where Mallory and Yash hear them and are annoyed because it's keeping them up. Uh, this Look, I mean, we've been watching Love Island where they all make out within 30 minutes of knowing each other. So, like, a kiss on day two is child's play.
Yeah. I know. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal. But in this game, maybe not. But I think they already like immediately had attraction towards each other. So I think that like it made sense. They wanted to be together, but I think it definitely is a little fast for Big Brother, especially because showmances will put a target on your back. So this early on already showing that, already getting people annoyed with you, not a good
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah, I think the mistake is like making out in the bunk bed where you're
Yeah.
in the same room as everybody if you don't want everybody knowing how close you two are. Like I think go into like a private room or like somewhere where you can kind of just like quickly go do whatever you want to do, and then, without being around everybody. And that way you can maybe keep it a little bit of a secret, and at least for a little while, like distance
Yeah.
yourselves and not have everybody just like from literally day two just associating the two of you together. Like I think that that's just never a great move, because you don't want people like just thinking of you as one person and
Yeah.
one vote and one, like, I don't know. I think that that's probably not going to work in their favor, but maybe it will, because maybe that's like, okay, you get two allies for the price of one. Sometimes it can, but you have to be smart enough to move it, like work it in your favor. Like you have to do the work to make people see it as an advantage and not a threat or a disadvantage. And I don't know that Rome or Lyric have the capability as game players to do that.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to see, but I don't have that much faith in them.
Yeah, not from what we've seen so far, but it's still very
Yeah,
early.
true.
So, well, I think in a week when we come back here, we will have a better idea. But then we get to Dee's nominations, and she decides to nominate one person from each group from the first HOH competition. That's kind of her excuse that she's going with as to why she's making these nominations, that it's fair because she's picking one person from each of those groups. So she decides on Taylor, Mallory, and Yash. Now, Yash's nomination is a little controversial because the fact that he was in her group. And originally, as I mentioned, when we were talking about the HOH comps, she had originally said that she was not going to choose anybody from her group to nominate. But she decides to go back on that and nominate him anyways. Rome had really tried to, or I'm sorry, was it Rome or was it Camus that had, I think it was Camus, sorry about
Camus.
that, who had tried to get her to, rather than nominating someone from her group, nominating either Barrett or Ashley, who did not play at all. And look, I think that from Camus' perspective, this was actually, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't know that Dee and Barrett are actually very, very closely aligned. So she was never going to nominate him. I do kind of think that she could have nominated Ashley
Hmm.
in Yasha's place, and that would have been worked out fine for her. But then she's nominating three girls. I don't think that that's necessarily a great look for her. And Yash maybe is somebody who she sees as a very good person to go home here. And so I think even though maybe she has to then kind of do some damage control as to why she decided to go with somebody from her group, it was worth it because she got three nominees that she actually wanted nominated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the way you say in a challenge may not always end up being the case. So I think we're in the comps here that it's like, I mean, it would have been good for her not to nominate in a way, but it worked out for the best in her favor for nominating this way because it did seem fair overall across all the groups.
Yeah. Now we will get into some live feed spoilers. So if you don't want to know those, then you're welcome to end the podcast here. Thank you for listening or watching, and we will see you next week. But for everyone else, we'll just do a few minutes, not anything major. If you want the majors, details of everything going on in all the live feed updates, please go watch our friend Taryn Armstrong. He does incredible live feed updates every morning for RJP. So make sure to do that because I will not be getting into all of those details, just the very, very basics here. So, Mallory's reaction to being nominated was a big topic of conversation on the feeds when they first started. And this is not something that we've really seen yet, or maybe we have, and there's just being very over exaggerated. But she was very emotional. Like, we did see that when the live feeds first turned on, like, she was crying. She was very, very upset about being nominated. And this has made Mallory really distance herself. I'm sorry. I'm going. I'm like Taryn. Taryn has been doing this a lot in the updates, confusing Melody and Mallory. Melody was very much distancing herself from Mallory because she thought that. So Mallory is really the intended target here when the first nominations first happen, and Melody sees this and basically is trying to jump off of what she sees as a sinking ship. So she's like, people are seeing us as a trio, the Mallory, Lyric, and Melody group, and Melody wants off of that ship. So she's kind of bad mouthing Mallory to everybody who will listen to her, and is very much down to make sure that Mallory's evicted this week. But as has happened the last few seasons, the intended target wins the power of veto. So Mallory wins the veto and she will take herself off the block. And we then have to, or D then has to make a replacement nominee. So at first, there's talk about it being Melody because it's another person from that trio. And of course, this is where lyrics showmans may come into handy because people, D and people kind of feel like, okay, maybe it's easier to nominate Melody because then you're not upsetting Rome by nominating Lyric. And so Melody, somebody who people would be more okay with being nominated and not put up a fight. So That seemed to be the original name, but then Ashley has really now come up as the main name that D is floating as the replacement nominee. So as of right now, as far as I know, and I haven't been watching all day feed, so maybe something has happened in the last few hours. I apologize if this is now out of date by the time you watch this. But the plan as of now that I know of is that Ashley will be the replacement nominee. D just kind of feels like it's easier that people, Ashley's not really close with people. She hasn't talked with Ashley much at all. So she feels like it's a very easy name. Nobody has fought her on it much. People might have preferences, but nobody has like come to Ashley's defense. So it seems like that's kind of the perfect scenario that she doesn't really upset anybody. She's not doing anyone else's dirty work though. So Ashley is really like the perfect nominee here, it seems like. So that is the plan as of now, that the final nominees for the week will be Taylor, Yash, and Ashley.
Yeah, I know it's surprising to see. I mean, not that surprising to see that it'd be Ashley's name, but I guess it's just because she's not really part of anything right now. But I think it's funny to see that Mallory was now she won, and now she doesn't have to have such a big meltdown now. But I mean, I think it goes to show how much she does really like being there and want to stay in the game. So I guess it's good that she is wearing her emotions on her sleeve, but in a way that maybe she should tone it back a little bit, just so people don't get scared off from working with her.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of it was Mallory being really scared that she's just going to be a very easy nominee now, because once you're
Mhm.
nominated once, it's just like so easy to just put you back on the block. And so I think like Mallory and Taylor have had that talk that they're both kind of afraid that that's going to be their fate. But if they survive, we know that Mallory will, but and Taylor I think is probably the most likely nominee to survive as well. Um, so I hope that doesn't happen either, because it's a more fun season when you see different nominees every week. But it's a very logical fear to have. And from what we saw, like maybe we'll see more at the beginning of Wednesday's episode, but from what we saw, like Mallory's reaction was very reasonable. I don't know, she didn't do
Yeah.
anything that crazy. So I don't know why Melody was like so intent on like being away from Mallory. And I know a lot of people were kind of hoping that Melody would end up being the replacement nominee, because it's like she karmic response for her being so anti Mallory when she got nominated, that then that same fate would happen to her, and then we can see if Mallory, distances herself from Melody all of a sudden. But it seems like the target now is Yash. So if he does
Yeah.
not win the blockbuster, it seems like he is most likely to go at this time. But so much can happen between now and Thursday,
Yeah.
and who knows who's going to win the blockbuster. I hope it's not Ashley. I really actually like Ashley and Taylor. So I would be most happy with Yash going home, just because he hasn't really brought us anything,
Yeah.
and we love when a man goes home first.
I agree. I like Ashley and Taylor, so I'm fine with if Yash goes. But we'll have to see.
We will have to see, but for now, that is our Big Brother update for the week. Lots to come in the next 12 weeks or so. So we will certainly be back for more every week with updates, with some fun guests in the future, hopefully. So stay tuned for that, and be sure to follow us on social media at Let's Chat Reality. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review, and we will chat with y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.